Hello, welcome to this training video that is going to help our Sequoia High School staff and our wonderful Family Center volunteers to assist our students and parents in signing up for our free and reduced price lunch program 2020. This is a wonderful program that you're going to want to explain to parents and students that it's not just for meals. Though that's what it's called. It also entitles them to a whole range of supports and benefits the school in a whole range of ways, sponsoring lots of different supports that students need from the beginning of ninth grade all the way through graduation. So thank you for helping them with this very important sign-up application process. The first step in signing up a family is to open up your Chrome browser or whatever browser you are using. There's two ways to do this. You might be talking a parent through the process and they are doing it themselves on their computer, or you are also welcome to interview the parent by phone or in person and enter it into your computer as if you were the parent. So that is also allowable. The first step is to go to the site, which is tinyurl.com/SEQ for Sequoia and comida, which is food in Spanish. So we were able to secure this tiny URL to make it easier for our parents to find the page. So tinyurl.com/SEQ COMIDA, and then hit enter. This is going to take you to the district's application site. And at this point, you will have two options: to continue in English or to do your application in Spanish. You are welcome to choose either one. For training purposes, I'm going to stick with English today. Okay, let's begin the online application. So the first thing is to accept the user agreement, and this is sort of a standard license agreement that says that the parents are okay letting this site assist them with the online meal application, that their information will be used safely for these purposes only. So you'll go ahead and, with the parents' permission, accept the license agreement and hit continue. Then you'll hit this page. And what's important here is this is the parent's name, first and last name, that you're going to be entering. This is the parent that is the guardian for the student. It can be any of the ones listed as an official parent or guardian of the student, hopefully the person that you're talking to. And you'll just want to make sure that this is the name that they use to register the student with our school district. So for purposes of this training video, I'm going to make a pretend family with the last name Z. And for right now, I'm the mom and I am named Elisa. So here we go. So the first step is going to be asking the parent or explaining to the parent that if they receive food stamps or some sort of other governmental support for food, they will want to click that yes, they are receiving CalFresh, CalWorks, and you'll want to ask them for their case number. This should be a number that the parents know well, and they will be able to provide that with you. The reason that we ask this right at the start is because if the answer is yes, and you provide a case number, you will get fast-tracked right into the free reduced price lunch system. It's very easy, very quick. In fact, it's so quick and straightforward that we're going to try and get all of our parents who are in these programs pulled out, so you don't even have to call them. But if you happen to catch one, you'll mark yes, you'll put the case number, and then you'll continue on, and it'll be a very simple, straightforward application. For most of the parents that we're calling, the answer is going to be no. And then we'll hit continue. Now for the student information. You'll want to make sure that you are starting with the high school student that is at Sequoia High School, and that you are putting in the information as the student is officially registered at the school. So no nicknames, no different last names, but in fact what they are registered as at the school. So for training purposes, I'm going to use my son's name, Javier, and our family's last name is Z. He is going into the 12th grade. He is at Sequoia High School. And his birth date is the 1st of January, 2003. Now, they ask here, does the student receive income? And this can sometimes confuse students and parents. If the student has just like a part-time job, helping pitch in a little bit, maybe has a job for some pocket money, an after-school job, you don't have to declare that right here. It's not a significant amount of money. What they're really looking for is this student supporting the whole family? I'm talking rent money, food money, clothing money, big income, significant income. So my son does have a part-time job, but he's not the one that's paying for rent or food or insurance or all those things. So I'm just going to write that this student does not receive income. If they do have a student who is earning significant money, then you'll follow the prompts from there. But for most of our high school students, the answer is going to be this student does not receive income. They're not one of the main breadwinners of the family. Beyond that, you will check if it's a foster child, homeless, migrant, or runaway, and then you'll click Add Student. On the right-hand side, you'll see that my student, Javier Z, has been added to the information. So this is sort of a running box of what you've entered so far, which is going to be really helpful in a little bit. So that was my high school student. There are some families who have more than one high school student living in their home. And so you'll want to mark all of those high school students first. Some of them will all be at one high school. Some families have one student at Sequoia and one student at Woodside, for example. So you'll want to make sure that you ask them about all of their high school students first. After that, we will go ahead and move on to students who are not in high school or other dependents who are not in high school. But the first step is high school. So in my family, for example, for training purposes, I only have one high school student. And so now I'm going to scroll down and I am going to click continue because I don't have another high school student. I don't have to fill out anything, just hit continue. Now we're moving on to the non-high school members of the family. So in my house, I have a daughter and her name is Lucia. She is not in high school. And so I am going to just put her first name and her last name, which is Z. And it could be that she is in middle school or elementary school or preschool or even an infant. But I'm going to list her here because she is someone that we are providing for in our household. So anybody under the age of 18 who is not in high school, who I am taking care of or responsible for financially in my household, I'm listing her here. Similarly, if there is a child who is in college, for example, who is not one of the main breadwinners of the family, but I am still responsible financially for that student, I would list them here. So anyone that I am responsible for, any children, it could be a niece, it could be a nephew, whoever is living in my household that I am supplying food, rent, healthcare, etc. for, we're going to list them here under household. So for continuing this on, my daughter Lucia is not earning significant income, and so I'm going to check this box and add her as a household member. Now let's say I have a niece named Ana Maria, and her last name is Z, and she is 22 years old, and she is taking classes at Cañada, and she works part-time just to sort of pay for her gas in her car and a few tickets to the movies and fun stuff. I again will click this household member does not have income. Even though she's above the age of 18, she's still a dependent on me. So I will add her. She's my niece. Now, I'm going to switch to the adults in the household. So this, for example, in my household would be starting with me, and my last name is Z, and I do have income. Let's say I work, and it's a pretty significant contribution to the household earnings. So in here, this is where you have to have a conversation with the parents. And it could be that they're paid weekly or every 2 weeks or twice a month or monthly or annually. Whatever, any one of these works, there's no preference for one over the other. Let's say that I earn a monthly income of about $1,000 per month. So I would mark that here. I would say that my gross earnings, perhaps as a healthcare aide, are $1,000 a month. And then I would continue to write down if I have any welfare payments that I receive, child support, alimony, Social Security, retirement, or any other income. And I would put this here. Now, some moms and dads are going to say, ooh, some weeks I earn $1,000, some weeks I earn $100. What do I do? It varies a lot. What you want to ask them is, in a typical year, what is really the money you can count on? That even if work is really slow, you will earn X amount of money. And that's the amount you want to put down here. You don't want to put the best case scenario. You kind of want to put the worst case scenario. So let's say my worst case scenario, depending on how many clients I have, is $1,000 a month. That's what I would write here. So I'm going to enter this in now. Now I'm going to add in my husband. So here's Justin Z, and his work is really hit or miss. So some weeks he makes $200, some weeks he makes $500. It's just really hit or miss. I'm going to put, again, the amount of money that I can really count on. So for sure, he makes about $250 a week, even in the worst weeks, and that's what I can count on. So I might mark $250 on a weekly basis, and then no welfare or Social Security or unemployment. And then I will hit add household member. Now, let's say he was earning unemployment. I would put that amount of money in there, and again, put what the frequency is. Okay, I'm going to add that household member. So you can see here on the right side, I have 2 children in the home. I have Javier, who is a Sequoia student. I have my daughter Lucia, who is not yet in high school. I have my niece living with me, Ana Maria, and she is in her 20s, but she's still taking college classes. So she is not a contributing to our household finances. So really, it's just me and my husband, Justin, and what we earn per month or per week. So at this point, you might ask, just to double check, is there anyone else, any other dependents in your house? So for instance, I could say, oh, my mother-in-law lives with me. So I'm going to include her. Her name is Anne, and she has the last name Q. And she does not have an income because she's my mother-in-law and she's quite elderly, but she lives with us and we take care of her. So I will add her as well. So at the end of the day, on the right-hand side, you'll see I now have my child from Sequoia, my child who's not yet at high school, my niece who lives with me and I care for her, myself and my earnings, my husband and my earnings, and my mother-in-law who is retired and we take care of her and support her. So once you've double checked with the family that you have everyone listed, you're going to count this up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 people living in the home. So you'll just want to double check that with the parents, make sure that that count is correct. Once you have entered everybody, you will leave this blank and you will go down to the bottom and hit continue. Then the general information. So for street address, let's say my address is 123 Elm Street and the city is Redwood City and the state is California, 94062. I'm making this up. My phone number is 324-555-6677 and my email is z@gmail.com, and the last 4 digits of my social. So the parents might say, oh my gosh, I don't have a social security number. Is that a problem? So not a problem. Many of our families don't have one. You will simply click, I do not have a social security number. If they do have one, they will just share with you the last 4 digits. That's all you need. Then, in the total number of people in your household, including the students and the adults and anyone else that's a dependent, this is the critical part that it has to match up. So again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people I've listed on the right-hand side in my household. So I'm going to put the number 6. And that's how they double check that you haven't entered anything incorrectly. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and hit continue. The last part, we're in the home stretch, is to just answer some optional information. And in this case, you can tell parents that this is optional to fill out, but it's helpful for the district and the state to know some of this additional information about our demographics. So you'll ask the parents, if it's not obvious already, if they are Latinx. And so for my family, the answer is yes, we are Latinx. And then you'll ask them if they consider themselves white, Asian, Black, African American, Native American, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander. In our case, I would say white. All right, scroll down to the bottom and hit continue. Now, I don't want to submit this to the district because this is a training video. So at this point, I'm going to pause. I'm not going to hit continue because I actually don't want to submit this to the district and get them confused about who this family Z is, which is a fiction. So I am not going to hit continue. You would. After you hit continue, you will get a confirmation screen that says something to the effect of, thank you for submitting your application. If you would like to print it, please print it now. You can print it if you would like and provide it to the family in a safe way, or you can reassure the parent that they can print it at home if they have a printer, or they can simply wait for the confirmation email that the district will send them confirming the receipt of their application. So again, you have to make sure when you're taking their email address that it is the correct email address that they check and that they need to be checking it every day during this pandemic school year. So that is the application, and it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions at all, please contact me at the Family Center. The address is shsef.fs@gmail.com, or my wonderful colleague who directs the Family Center, Elvira Macias, emacias@seq.org. We would both be very happy to help you. All right. Thank you again.